So my first name is Brian Rashid, Brian Rashid.
So, also your title with the company you work for as well.
Sure, I'm the CEO of Brian Rashid Global.
So, give us an overview. Who is Brian Rashid? What exactly do you do?
So Brian is a guy that was born and raised in Peoria, Illinois. Have an amazing family that I'm very proud of. Taught me a lot of great things about life and business that I then took and moved into business in New York City. I currently live in New York City. I've been running a media communications and branding company for the last 5.5 years. And prior to that, I went to law school at the City University of New York, School of Law in Queens, New York, and I worked for Mike Bloomberg while he was mayor of New York City, and then remained in his administration as a political speechwriter and advisor to one of his commissioners.
So I've seen this awesome video that you made. What prompted you to make this video, and what was some feedback that you got from it?
So this video I made was a Peoria tribute video from Lower Financial District of Manhattan. It was in a lot of ways a tribute to Peoria, in that I feel like a lot of the skills that I learned here growing up over the first 18 years were skills that are directly transferable to the business that I've been able to create. In the video I talked about kindness, I talked about hard work and grit, and I talked about community. I think Peoria does those three things extremely well, and whether that be from a family perspective or a friendship perspective or a business perspective, I think that these three things are key to a lot of successes that we have as individuals. And so I wanted to kind of take a moment and thank the city that I came from. I really am a firm believer in knowing where you've come from in order to properly know where you're going. And so taking a second to reflect on that upbringing and those gifts and gems that Peoria hold and have offered me was really special, to be able to, from New York City, offer that holiday wish and propel me even further into the things that I know that I'm going to do in 2018.
So I know you spoke about grit and several things that Peoria has taught you. What are some other things that maybe Peoria has given you and equipped you to be able to be where you are now and where you're headed?
I think friendship and leadership are so synonymous. I think that the tighter the community is and the more loyalty that there is in a community, I think that really inspires action. And so I think that any good leader has to take a lot of action, massive action, in ways that are scary at first and don't make any sense at first, or that require consistent persistence. And I think that Peoria, through all of its ups and its downs, has always offered that perspective for me, that if you surround yourself with good people and you keep going, and you keep going, and you surround yourself with good people, then good things seem to happen in the end. And I think that running a business, myself or anyone that watches that runs a business, whether that be business is your family or your actual business or a job, I think that the key has always been good people around plus persistent action, and Peoria has certainly shown me that.
Awesome. What are some things that, how was the transition for you coming from Peoria and ultimately ending up in New York? I know Peoria isn't the smallest town, but it's not the biggest town either, and being somewhere like, New York. How was that transition with everything, career-wise, social-wise, just everything with that?
I think, for me, Peoria and New York have certain things in common, and obviously certain things are extremely different. The things that are commonplace between Peoria and New York is that there is a real sense of looking out for each other. I think that we saw this really, really well in 9/11. After 9/11, the city of New York, all 5 boroughs, even the state and the world came together. Anyone that says that New Yorkers are mean have actually probably never been to New York, because New Yorkers are extremely tight-knit, and New Yorkers are so much thinking unselfishly about how they can help the people around them. I think Peoria is the same thing. So in a lot of ways that prepared me for that kind of community. I think also, in New York, you have to really be rooted and grounded in something real, because New York is so fast and so transient, and things are moving 1,000,000 miles an hour. And if you don't have a real clear sense of purpose and a real clear sense of self, you get lost and you get run over and you get eaten alive. And I think that Peoria is a very grounded place to come from. And I think that with that grounding that you have from such real raw community of people that have no other intention other than to be your friend and to help you out and to be there for you, carries you into a place like New York or any other big city in the world and provides you that bedrock of stability that is 100,000% necessary to succeed in a place as fast and as transient and as big as New York. If you don't really have that, both of those feet planted on the ground, it's going to be real hard for you to make it.
Wow. So I know this video, went pretty viral here in the city of Peoria. Several people seen it. What is some feedback that you got from some of the people here in Peoria?
I've honestly been blown away by the feedback. I did this video kind of thinking my mom and dad might get a kick out of it, and some of their friends might write me and say, great video. It went completely viral. It went wild in the city. I've been getting hundreds of messages for the last 2-3 weeks, and that's been incredible. I think the feedback has always been, mostly has been thank you. People are very proud to be from Peoria for a lot of different reasons. A lot of people immigrated to Peoria, right? A lot of people established themselves in Peoria from different parts of the world. And the thing that they all said was, thank you so much for reminding me how important Peoria is. And thank you so much for reminding the outside world. I mean, I'm getting messages from people in California, from people in Europe, from people in South America saying, I want to go visit Peoria. So that for me has been a humbling experience. But I think the most common feedback has been thank you. And I think that so often we get so caught up in our day-to-day, and we get so caught up in the thrills and in the rush of what we're doing that it's hard to think back. It's hard to reflect back. It's hard to give that moment of silence in your head to think, where did this all come from, right? And so I think that kind of 3-minute and 14-second video allowed everyone, no matter if you lived in Cheyenne, Wyoming, or Brazil, or Europe, or Peoria, if you have any route to this place, it gave people the opportunity to stop and say, oh yeah, that's a special place. And then a lot of people chimed in their own memories and their own thoughts about the city, and it was very special.
So I know that this, since it's gone pretty viral, it's given you pretty much of a platform. How are you going to use that platform to, give back? You've learned so much from Peoria. Are you going to use that to? I
love the question. Yeah, I love your question. Giving back is something that's super important to me. I'm a big believer in giving. I learned that from my mom. She was like the most generous person ever. It's in my DNA to be very uncomfortable to receive and be very comfortable to give. And so for that reason, I'm actually this Thursday, the 28th of December, we're hosting a meet and greet and free business Q&A for any entrepreneur, small business, anyone that has a dream that wants to make it a reality in 2018, down at Tannen and Hops downtown, Lower Manhattan Speakeasy. It's all on my professional Facebook page, Brian Rashid Global, public figure page in Facebook. All the event details are there. So I want to just kind of meet people, shake their hands, hear their story, and then we're going to dedicate an hour of Q&A. Event is completely free. There's going to be jazz music. It's going to be a real rad time.
So it'll specifically be you on this panel, or will it be other individuals?
It'll be me. It'll be any question that they have for me about branding, marketing, business, entrepreneurship.
And so what are some of your goals in the future, especially with this video and giving you this platform? What are some things you're going to do maybe in the future to not specifically just give back, but just, make a difference as well?
So I think, this video for me, and this is something that I tell people that are trying to figure out entrepreneurship all the time, there's never one thing. Right? Like, this video has been a blast and it was viral and I'm very grateful. What I think about this video for about 1 second and then I'm on to the next thing. I think about this video long enough to be inspired to do this and jam with you guys, and then to do the meet and greet, and then to do a few other interviews, and then any other way that I can be helpful for people that watch the video that want to start. They can reach out, and I would love to figure out a way to work together in some capacity. For me, the important thing and the lesson that I think would be really valuable to anyone listening is, if you think that there's going to be one thing that makes your success, you're kind of dreaming. So for me, this video was a shot. Was a jolt of electricity. And what I do next is I literally just keep going with my life purpose of inspiring millions of people to do what they love and figure out how to use the tools that exist in the 2017, 2018, 2019 world to put them in the best position to win. And so the answer to your question is, I will just keep doing everything that I can for the entire world. I love Peoria, Illinois, and I love everything that Peoria, Illinois represents. And Peoria, Illinois has instilled in me a sense of global responsibility, and for me, that's just the best gift that this city could give me.
I don't have any other questions. Anything else
Cool.
you'd like to say to the city?
Sure. I would say, to the city of Peoria, this is a unique place, and the love that I feel, even though I haven't been living here for the last 17 years, is still very much with us. And I think that for the parents that are watching, you should realize that you have an immense responsibility to instill those core values, because my parents did an incredibly good job of that. My dad with the hard work and the discipline, my mom with the generosity and the caregiving. We take that with us. And so whether Peoria is your hometown or not, just remember that all of the things that represent what you do and your upbringing and all the things that represent who you are before you go on to that next thing are very real, and they transfer and they translate and they matter. So keep the pride high, keep the hope high, keep inspiring in your own way, keep doing what you can for the world. And that's the best way that Peoria can put Peoria on the map, is to continue to create leaders that have global impact, that can make a video from Lower Manhattan that goes viral and then puts Peoria on that map. And so you don't necessarily have to be living in Peoria to be doing Peoria proud. And I think that's a lesson that a message that I really want to get out there. Remember where you came from, and then wherever you put your post, honor that place that you came from while inspiring in the present moment and being very clear about future giving.